and me, swinging his heavy knife in circles and glaring at us both out of the front and back of his head. Kemper seized him by his arm, but Gru's shirt came off, and I saw his entire body was as furry as an ape's. And all the while he was snapping at us and leaping hither and thither to avoid our blows. And from the corners of his puffed cheeks he whined and whimpered and mewed through the saliva foam. "Keep him from the water," I panted, following him with the clubbed shotgun, and as I advanced I almost stepped on a soiled heap of foulness, the dead buzzard which he had caught and worried to death with his teeth. Suddenly he threw his knife at my head, hurling it backward, dodged, screeched, and bounded by me toward the shore of the lagoon, where the pretty waitress was standing petrified. For one moment I thought he had her, but she picked up her skirts, ran for the nearest boat, and seized a harpoon. And in his fierce eagerness to catch her, he leaped clear over the boat and fell with a splash into the lagoon. As Kemper and I sprang aboard and looked over into the water, we could see him going down out of reach of a harpoon, and his body seemed to be silver-plated, flashing and glittering like a burnished eel, so completely did the skin of air envelop him, held there by the fur that covered him. And as he rested for a moment on the bottom, deep down through the clear waters of the lagoon where he lay prone, I could see, as the current stirred his long black hair, the third eye looking up at us, glassy, unwinking, horrible. A bubble or two, like globules of quicksilver, were detached from the burnished skin of air that clothed him, and he came glittering upward. Suddenly there was a flash, a flurrying cloud of blue mud, and Gru was gone. After a long while I turned around in the muteness of my despair, and slowly froze. For the pretty waitress, becomingly pale, was gathered in Kemper's arms, her cheek against his shoulder. Neither seemed to be aware of me. "Darling," he said in the imbecile voice of a man in love, "why do you tremble so when I am here to protect you? Don't you love and trust me?" "Oh, yes," she sighed, pressing her cheek closer to his shoulder. I shoved my hands into my pockets, passed them without noticing them, and stepped ashore. And there I sat down under a tree, with my back toward them, all alone and face to face with the greatest grief of my life. But which it was, the loss of her or the loss of Gru, I had not yet made up my mind. The End of The Third Eye.